welcome everybody. I want to tell you about something that hasn't been discovered. If it has been discovered, I wish I would have found out 14 years ago when I had my auto accident. Not only that, I would have liked to have known when I was a little bitty thing, and I could have prevented my body from winding down. And what that is is what I call your tendon tension grid, or your tension grid pattern, and how you create a solid foundation and then move. What did I say? Solid foundation, then move. You want to obey the laws of physics. How does your body create a solid foundation and then move? Ask yourself that question. But this is an introduction to other videos. This stuff is very up there in a level of consciousness in a way you have to understand. But it is more real than this matter itself. It is through the technology that we have achieved right now that we're able to get to this level of consciousness. Now it's time to move up. Okay, now we have machines that know that quantum physics that states that matter is only a shadow of energy. And why do we keep working on matter? So I'm going to show you a grid pattern in the form of energy, in the form of numbers that can be proven through numbers, in which that I'm able to realign, and I had to realign within my own body to get that memory out of that subconscious brain. Okay, this was everything for me. It can be everything for you, or it can be nothing for you. And those that know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. Now, in regards to that, I ask you, how do you move? In the physics of how you move. And within the ability to do bioelectric alignments, I started basically connect the dots. And what I found, these memories lie within a grid pattern, what I call the backbone memory. And those memories connect to the musculoskeletal system in form of fluid, which creates a frequency and vibration. We all know the keys to the universe is through energy, frequency, and vibration. I'm taking you down to the foundation, the memory of your body, to get that memory out. We have the ability to understand. Now we need to raise that level. So watch the other videos. If you want to believe it, that's fine. If you don't want to believe me, that's fine. It doesn't matter to me. If you need some help with anything, that's what I'm here for. That's what the videos are here for. This grid is how your body stabilizes, then moves. And you're set in a pattern, but when life happens, it creates a different pattern to protect your body, protect your organs from from yourself and from the forces of gravity. Now I ask you this, if we have all these measurements against the forces of gravity, and we know the forces of our energy is greater than that force of gravity because that allows us to move, why haven't we taken that into account? Well, now it's time to move up. Now it is time to move up to that level of consciousness. And what I'm talking about is in regards to how you stabilize and then move, because it's the interaction between your brain and the body. Just like when you freeze to death, when you cut off the blood in your extremities in order to protect the organs. And what it is a force that has not been talked about, and it's more real than gravity itself. And it's that force inside and how it interacts with the body and the musculoskeletal system. And since I found this out and found this discovery, it's allowed me to essentially rewind my body, rewind life off my body. And what I'm talking about is memories put in triangles that are stuck through fluid, which creates a frequency that travels to the brain that sets up a grid. And if it wasn't for this ability that I was being able to do, I would never have been able to have found this, because what it has to deal with is quantum physics and also sacred geometry and sonic geometry, golden ratio. And I think, in my opinion, the reason why it hasn't been found is because the medical field they're not educated in sacred geometry and quantum physics. Well, that's where it's going to have to go, because we've already dissected everything. That's what we do. We dissect everything. It doesn't give you any answers. We need answers. And when I seek these answers, essentially reverse the body, reverse those triangulations of memory out of my body. What I did is I connected the dots. When I found a pattern, I started looking into information. Well, and I found quantum physics. And this is an intro It's an intro into other videos. And I asked you to question me, but I want you to question everything else. This is to educate people on how their body works. Take it another level. We're going to take another level up to what we know now. It has to go this level. And if you're interested in that, I am good to help you with anything. It's realigning that grid, educating you about the body. And because this is the reason why I've been in pain for 14 years. And if this has been around, I wish someone would have told me 14 years ago when I could have rewound those injuries off of my body. And thank God for the medical field that we have now. But it is time to move up. It is time to get out of this chronic pain. It is time to move up to that other level, even moving. So what I'm saying is, what I offer is instruction in human movement. May it be in a 40, may it be getting around without being in pain. If you're interested in that, I highly recommend looking at my other videos. And if those videos don't help you, because I have limited knowledge on quantum physics and sacred geometry, but I promise you, it is more real than the body itself. And you can see the symmetry in the body through the Vitruvian Man as he goes up, and it creates that the symmetry mathematically. You don't maintain that symmetry your whole life. But how do you obey the laws of nature in order to move off of that symmetry? Your body creates the triangulation to create that symmetry to move off of. Even though you don't have it in the matter itself, it uses energy triangulation. All matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. In other words, when we eat bread, what intelligence tells that bread to turn to human? My maps line up with every ancient civilization medical maps or charts. And you can go through every one, and you can see how it lines up with the chakras, as I will show you on the charts. Now, what this illustrates is how we are a pyramid, and how in sacred geometry that certain geometric shapes have certain flows of energy. A gentleman out of Mesquite, Texas, did an experiment in a vacuum with a pyramid, and it created a helix coil. You can see the flow out of the pyramid. I'm just showing you irrefutable proof. Again, the helix coil out of a pyramid. When we go to these charts, and what I'm talking about is, this is what you think of as reality, and this is not reality. In true form, in true reality, see, they have not taken into account, I think I can edit all this, your energy and the force of your energy on the body. Does it make any sense to you that they're not taking that into account when it is greater than the force of gravity? Now, we use this musculoskeletal system to create a solid foundation in order to move by using the true backbone right here. The true backbone. And that's the helix coil. And I illustrate how you create symmetry. And those lines are what you would call knots, a tension. Okay? Now, and I illustrate all that in regards to the shoulders, but your body is redistributing that tension throughout the whole body in order to not have injuries. Okay? You don't feel every bad triangle. If that was the case, we'd be walking around in pain every day. But you need to be aware of those pains when you do have them, so you can get them out, so you don't have that injury, so you don't have that ailment that's maybe keeping you from running. For you, so you know that I have rewound or unwound injuries off my body. 12 permanent injuries off my body, including a 7mm herniation down in my low back. 4 permanent injuries down in my cervical. So I have done the research. This right here is how your matter coincides with reality, which is energy, and how it creates a grid and how you triangulate to create that grid through tension points. You can see that this is a different, this knot would be a different frequency, which is a different vibration. These are called fractal geometric shapes. This tension right here calls a magnetic tension that holds this triangle. And that's how your body creates tension. That's how your body triangulates. That's how your body triangulates to create a solid structure as you lift your arm up. Because you have to create leverage with that with the force of gravity and that force of energy inside you. And I tell you, watch these videos. I cut these videos down to make them a little more simple. But there are links to watch whole videos on this. I want you to know that I reverse engineered the body to find this out. This is true information. These just haven't been correlated together in the medical field. Now, when I ask you this stuff, what makes energy? Just a few questions. We got vortex energy, Torres energy cycle. Let's use these methods of question, not made up stuff. Use universal laws of math through sacred geometry, quantum physics, quantum dynamics, sonic geometry, golden ratio. So how do you move? How do you create a solid foundation, a solid structure to move off of? With physics. How does your body use physics to create a solid structure in order to move? What laws of the universe apply to that equation? These are stuff that needs to be answered. Laws to apply to how the body creates a solid structure in order to move. Again, I go over those laws. And we can go through this. Sacred geometry, Newton's law, golden ratio, binary system. Quantum physics states matter is nothing but an illusion. So why are we working on an illusion? All matter is energy. Energy is reality, not matter. Matter is not tangible. Physical energy is tangible. How do you measure energy? We have all these measurements for energy. How do you measure energy? We have weight. We have distance. Okay, vortex math, numbers are real and alive. About quality of numbers, not quantity. Now again, there's better people than me to tell you about this. Form of sacred geometry that is three-dimensional in nature. Numbers in a matrix grid. Pattern in the form of a torus. What we see, perceive as the material physical world is not really physical or material at all. In fact, it is far from it. If what we see is a shadow of energy, again, why are we working on shadows? If you wish to understand the universe, you must understand energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, your body uses the infinity flow pattern to create a grid foundation. Then you move using the musculoskeletal system. Using the flow infinity circle of energy to create a triangulation to form a solid structure to our foundation. Uses tension in the points, like I showed you, of the triangles with fluid, which creates a vibration and frequency. The subconscious calculates where to put that tension based upon the force of your energy against the forces of gravity. Now that means if you have ailments in certain areas, your intellect decides on where that goes. You don't. If you're freezing to death, your body tells your blood to stop in your extremities in order to save your organs. It's the same intellect that saves your organs, saves the body, saves the head, then the organs. All right. So I ask you simple questions. Is gravity important to you? We have all these measurements for gravity. So I asked you this final question, and before this final question, and before all this, I tell you to look at the videos, in particular the charts that are going to come right after this. And my final question is if we take into account the importance of forces of gravity, why aren't we taking into account this force? That inner force, that inner energy, that chi, that ki, that prana, that life force. Why aren't we taking that into account? Why does it matter? Well, it's everything for me. And how I unwound my body is what I call through the bioelectric alignment of the muscular memory system, or I could say, I think they call it beams, in which I use frequency and vibration and triangulate the tension of life in your body, and also instruct you on human movement on how to keep that out and to keep things from happening. Now again, I tell you, question me, but you better question everything.